We're continuing our journey through Ephesians chapter 2, and yesterday we heard about how those who were far off are brought near by the blood of Christ. And then our verse for today is verse 14. For he is our peace. In his flesh, he has made both groups, Jew and Gentile, into one, and has broken down the dividing wall that is the hostility between us. So, one of the fundamental things we're going to hear throughout Ephesians is this focus on unity and oneness in Christ. And Paul is saying that Jesus, whether one is Jewish or Gentile, in his flesh, in his death, he has made both groups now into one. And that image of breaking down the dividing wall. If you think of the temple in Jerusalem, there was the court of the Gentiles, which was the outermost court. They could only go there. And then there's another wall, and then there's where the Jewish people could go. And then you go all the way into the Holy of Holies, where only the high priest could go. And part of the image we have here in Ephesians chapter 2 is the sense that's like Jesus, through his death and resurrection, is doing a massive renovation job, if you will, and taking out the walls that separated Gentiles and Jews and even the high priest from the people, and saying now there is no division. We have this big open space where God's holy presence is available to all, whether one was raised Jewish or one was raised a Gentile. And, it's something, having been to Jerusalem, having gone to the Western Wall, what many people know as the Wailing Wall, and it's very hard to go in. The security's unbelievable. And right in that whole area, you'll have very Orthodox Jews praying. You'll have Christians praying over here. And just on the other side is the Dome of the Rock and a large Muslim mosque. And you talk about visualizing a dividing wall and hostility that exists to this day. Jerusalem and that Western Wall and the mosque on the other side embodies it still. But Jesus, Paul tells us, Jesus is about breaking down dividing walls. Jesus is about breaking down hostility between groups. And think about, we all hear, and I'll be speaking repeatedly during this year about the political hostility and the enmity in our own country between different groups of people who align themselves with different individuals or different political parties, and the hostility that exists between them. And, there are Christians on both sides, people who would affiliate or say, I'm a Christian, I go to church, and how do we break down the hostility that exists between us and other people who may see some issues differently than we do or have a different opinion or perspective? Well, we want to do it in the Spirit of Christ, knowing that Christ came to be our peace and to break down walls that separate us from God and from others.